Hello and welcome, and you're James.
Hi, thank you.
Just so everybody that's watching knows who we're talking to. And I don't know, maybe do you want to go on the path of I was gonna say, see, there's two, and I'm showing four, of how we met and that path and how our friendship has evolved and the spirituality part of it, or you can start with who you are and what you're doing and go from there. Like I know in my head even the story of how you started improving yourself, that's really something that I feel people would resonate with, you know?
Okay, I'm James, and I'm an
Hello.
alcoholic. No, I'm joking. Okay, so I'm James, and
Hello, James.
I don't really know what I don't really know what to say. I don't really know where to start. I think it was, I think it was. I think everything changed in 2020,
Hmm.
but I think a lot of people are going to say that, and I don't know if it was specifically COVID that changed things, or there was something in the air. I don't know. I don't know, but it feels like something like a switch happened. But then this is right around the time we met anyway, right? So then I think
No, we met
no, it
way later
was
than that.
no,
No,
but
we
then I think okay, I think because of lockdowns and stuff, and a lot of people were kind of stuck indoors and whatnot. So at that point, I don't know if I was the spiritual kind of journey hadn't really started
started.
by then. So it was more of a self improvement kick
Mm-hmm.
or a drive, right? So I was kind of coming home from delivering mail and stuff all day at work because I was allowed out during lockdown because of my job being postman. And then I'd come home and then I'd set all these targets for, I have to read for 20 minutes a day, or I have to do this 20 minutes a day and stuff. Or I did German I did German like a little, what app was it? Duolingo. I did, yeah. So I had all these small targets and stuff like that. And I felt, in a non spiritual way, I felt, wow, I've made so much improvement over a certain period of time with the lockdowns and whatnot. And I felt powerful in that aspect where I'd kind of had more control over my not thoughts, but just path. I had more control over my path and who I was, and I kind of realized that I think I, I think a lot of people kind of maybe resonate with this, but you have this danger where you go on the internet and you'll scroll through and you see these people having these perfect lives and they're good at a certain task or they've got abundance in one area, and then you're sat there thinking, well, how do I get something like that, or how do I get something similar? I think a lot of it, in my case, I learned the fact that if I was to create habits, just small things, and continue doing them every day, it's consistency. That's the superpower I learned at that point. Consistency is key. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to. Rome wasn't built in a day, was it? So it's not like you're. Imagine you just kind of you want to build a house. You're just laying one brick at a time every single day. Okay, that's a lot of fucking bricks. But the point being, there's a lot of small improvements you make. If you make yourself 1% better every day, or even less, you're already winning. No, you're not competing with anyone else. You're competing with yourself. You're better than you were yesterday. So in terms of how things kicked off, I think I was already on kind of like a trajectory where I was improving in a lot of areas. Then I started to create goals and have ambitions in my head because I don't know why it was, but it felt like before that time period, I kind of just drifted along and floated along. Didn't have any kind of path or didn't have any kind of goals or ambitions. Not really. And then all that changed. And then when we met, I don't know when it was it 21?
Probably. I would say
21
2021. Hold on.
or 22?
Was I? Yes, I still lived in Ross. No, it was 2021 because I still lived in Ross at the
It's
time.
21. And at that point, I
Yeah.
don't know what it was because obviously, remember, you've always said, "Oh, I'm," as in you. you're loopy and stuff, and me being the person I was, pretty much very not. I like having fun and joking, but I look at things, and a lot of things, and for me, are like black and white.
Hmm.
Like, this is this. It can't ever be that, or this is the way things work. But then with your mindset and stuff and the way you changed at that point, obviously I didn't know you before that. So you were describing to me how you were. And I thought,
Yeah.
interesting. So how you're the catalyst, I feel, and I've told you this before, but you're the catalyst of how or why my path has changed.
Oh
So I
wow.
wasn't spiritual before. I didn't have any, I turned my nose up at certain things, but the conversations
Mm.
we had didn't weird me out, or they didn't kind of shock me and stuff. I found them fascinating. And then obviously I've dug into different things and stuff, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like you're potentially the biggest catalyst that changed things for me. Yeah, whew, whew,
Pat myself on the back.
just
Oh,
pat
I'm
yourself
so
on
good.
the
That's
back. But and it feels like it's been on a steady. I've been on a
growth,
steady
of
journey
course.
since then. Like, I've not had any massive impactful things. Well, I guess one of the things, one of the biggest topics, which is, I'd say it's trendy right now, and then one of the biggest things we spoke about was manifestation.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And well, you'd set me tasks, wouldn't you? You'd set me little goals and stuff like that. I remember being on the phone to you
Yeah.
when I was
I feel
delivering
like we
mail.
played. I feel like we
Yeah, oh,
played
yeah,
with
and we
that.
played
Like,
these games where you said, "Oh,
yeah.
imagine something." So I was kind of thinking about a bee. It was a bee, and I went back to my work van, my raw mail van, and it's what I thought. It could have been a wasp, could have been something else, but it doesn't matter. To me, it looked like a bee, so it was a bee. And there was a dead bee on the wiper
Windscreen.
blades.
Oh,
And then
I remember.
for weeks and weeks after, I used to deliver to this kind of like gift store. They'd
Mm-hmm.
have like fancy gifts and homeware stuff, like really fancy, like tea towels or mugs or handmade clothes, just loads of stuff like that. And what was there? Like a doormat. It was bees, and then there was bee soap, and just loads of stuff like that. And then I set another task that you sent me, and it was a flamingo.
Oh
And
my
what
God.
appeared?
Do you know that even now, I gotta interrupt you because even now when I see a flamingo, I remember that. It's
Yes.
so funny. Every time I see a flamingo, I'm like, oh, there's a flamingo. And then I'm like, straight up, I'm thinking of the manifestation game that we were playing. So go
Yeah.
ahead with the flamingo.
So yeah, flamingos never disappeared. It was always some bloody flamingo somewhere, or yeah. but yeah, we played with it, and we kind of we just had fun with it, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
but then I think my belief system then was still not convinced. Like, I'm like, that could be a coincidence, which whatever you believe, but I think I needed more than that. I think
Mm-hmm.
there was one thing where I kind of, again, I was on the postal round, and I thought about manifesting like £1,000, and I was picturing it like in my hand, and or the numbers on my bank account screen or my app, or I was thinking about like all the notes, whatever. Was it a day or two later? I got a phone call from my parents saying, "Oh, we've gifted you this much money because of tax or something. We don't want to pay tax." I don't know how it worked out, but yeah, they gifted me this money. Don't worry, it's legit. It's not dodgy. But then they just gave me 1,500, so it was more than I'd wanted or expected, but I got that, and I was like, "Oh, what the hell? Like, that's weird." But the biggest thing that I manifested is the job, right? The
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the job I'm in
Yeah,
now.
walk. Okay, so hold on a minute because I'm thinking you started off saying that you were a postie, right? I love the word postie. So what can you tell us what you used to do in that? Like what were your plans at the time? And because I know the story, but anybody watching doesn't. So what were your steps in because you wanted to change your job. You wanted to change your trajectory in life and to go on a completely different route, somewhere where you could use your skills a bit more because you're very gobby. So that's a good skill to have in whatever you want to do
Yes.
now. So can you tell us the path that you were on and the one that you wanted to go on and how that came about?
So yeah, I still so I was at Raw Mail delivering parcels and letters and stuff. I did that I told myself it was like a stopgap job. It was a job I would just do and take. The job was like I'll take this job for the meantime. It pays all right. You get to walk around, talk to people all day. It's not too difficult. You get left alone. You get sent out and just left alone and do your thing. So I thought, it's a, because I've always wanted to do my own business or run something or have that element of freedom and whatnot. Just never known what to do. So my brother spoke to me and said, "Oh, my friend's a mortgage broker, mortgage advisor. Same thing. He's on £120,000 a year. So like, what's that? $200,000 a year US or something around that? No, it's not. It's like 150. I don't know. A lot of money." And I'm thinking, well, sounds boring. Doesn't interest me. I don't care. Money's never been. Some people are driven by money. It's nice, but cool. Like, if you're on that much money, I found out he was working 7 days a week and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, well, I don't want that. I don't care that's that much money. So I kind of dismissed that. And then I made friends with this guy that's like a director at this property group, like a charitable trust. And they provide homes for, I think it's like teenagers and stuff like that and whatnot. And they obviously bought this company, they buy the homes and they give them to people to live in. I don't know if there's rent involved,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But they also, like any other traditional estate agent, I don't know, obviously this is UK housing markets. I don't know if there may be an American people or whatever, or Europeans listening, but not like a realtor, I guess, like that. So they do sales and lettings, like rentals for houses. So this guy's on this board of directors. He's on the board of directors, and he says to me, we start talking about it. So I'm thinking, like that's something else that's linked in. Like it's kind of another kind of piece of a puzzle. And I'm thinking, right, okay, like, I don't know. And he even mentions at this time, he says, I feel there's a reason we've met. I don't know yet, but I feel that I've met you because I need to help you somehow. And that's what he said. And he's not spiritual, by the way. He doesn't do that. He said to me, if you do some exams, because I needed some exams to pass them to do this job. If you do these exams, I will put you in front of the right people. And I thought, cool, okay. So then I kind of was thinking about it, was unsure, do I really want to do it? Does it interest me? And then, the more I heard about it and like you get to help people and yeah, it's well paid, but you get to you can go self-employed with it. You can be your own boss. And I thought that sounds good because my initial plan was to do 2 or 3 years working either at the company he worked for or somewhere else, build my experience, learn the job, and then go self-employed. That was my plan. Well, I took around 2 years to pass my exams because I was working full time. I didn't have the hunger or the need to immediately pass them. So I didn't have to rush or panic or whatever. And the headaches I had where I was kind of failing one exam, passing it, and having to pay a lot of money to retake just one of them. And that happened 3 or 4 times because there's 3 lots of exams or 3 modules and there's loads of exams in each one and they're quite tough. So in my head at that point, it wasn't a case of me getting frustrated about if I was going to pass, when I'm going to pass. And I already had these daydreams and visions about passing and about doing the job. And I told you I had this exact room I'm in now. My desk was, the daydream of the desk's over there. It's not, the desk's here now, obviously. But I used to imagine myself doing this mortgage advising job, self-employed, from home, this home, there, right? So
Hmm.
I already was still dreaming that, and I knew that was going to happen at some point. There was no doubt in my mind. And I'm not meditating, by the way. I've never really meditated. Everything has been daydreams and kind of, everything's been thought process. I don't journal, I don't meditate and stuff, but with the exams, I eventually passed. And I knew I'd pass. It was, like I said, when am I going to pass? Which you can't really be like that with manifestation. It just happens when it happens, right? Or the right time. So I passed these exams, and that was the first kind of massive weight off my shoulders. And the friend I mentioned before with the company, the director. So his company, I don't think at the time they were doing too well. Big company. There's like 48 different branches they have in different towns and cities across the southwest of England. They've got a lot of staff, like 400 staff members. So they're a medium-sized company. They're quite big, and the turnover is quite big. So I messaged him and say I passed. Like, hey, let's have a discussion about getting me kind of in front of the right people, or do you know anyone that's hiring? Are your company hiring? Wrong timing on that part, because he was going through a pretty messy breakup. Barely replied to messages. He was meant to help me do my resume, my CV, sorry, resume. Yeah, same thing. So he was meant to help the CV, which perfectly capable on my own. But the way he worded it was, because it's finance and it's stuff, and because I'm a director, I know exactly what to look for. I can help you word it, and I can, months went
Make
by.
it better.
Months went by. I was getting no help. Mind you, I'd already quit my job. The Royal Mail job was October last year. That was finished. So I'd stopped earning money at that point. I wasn't panicking. I had savings, but money wasn't coming in. And yeah, it turns out his company were the hiring budget for the location or the area I was going to work. Some guy left. They didn't have a budget. They didn't know who they're taking anyone on. They weren't hiring anyone. So I was like, fuck. So I went onto these websites and I found like this company. They've got like 1,500 branches around the UK, and they're like the number one estate agents, property agents, and rentals and stuff like that. And obviously they have their own in-house of mortgage brokers, and they were loads of trainee roles. They're hiring trainee people, and I thought, well, and we'll pay for these exams, and I'm like, well, I've done these exams, I've self-funded, paid for myself, done it after work. I mean, that's pretty good to an employer. You've gone out of your way, you've used your initiative and stuff. Wrong. They said no particular reason, but I applied for the same job, in about 5 different towns.
Wow.
The exact same role, the exact same trainee role, and I got turned down for all of them. And I remember having a conversation with you about it, and I remembered I'm getting turned down for these roles because they're not meant for me. They're not for me, and I didn't want to do them. I did not want to do them. Yeah.
You had a certain vision about how it would be, right? Because I remember you describing to me with this kind of people, and it would feel like this, and I would be doing this, and I remember all the little things that you were describing to me that I knew when you were being turned down. It's like, because it's not for you. There's something else better. So continue.
But it was a case of, yeah, I told you, like, if I took the job, I would be treated like a piece of shit. I'd be treating customers and clients like shit because it's one in, one out. This company, or these larger firms, they don't care about how well I treat you. They care about the money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not like that. I don't want to treat people like that. It's not how I'm about. If I had to do that as that job, it's just a downside of doing that job, like, it is what it is. So anyway, I kind of like applied for jobs. I was emailing directors and stuff at local companies and saying, hey, like, are you hiring? What situation? Like, the market at the time wasn't the best anyway, and it's still not amazing. But anyway, this gym I go to, I spoke to this one guy I kind of know, and he was saying, oh, my friend does that, and he works in Bristol for this company. You should give him a call. He might help you out with a job. And I thought, probably not. Like, I'll email the guy. So I found his business card at the front of the gym on the front desk, and I remember emailing him, and his name's James as well. So I emailed him. 2 days later, he responded, and he said, "Hey, how about we have a phone conversation?" So we had a phone conversation, and he goes, "How about we meet for a coffee?" And I was like, "Cool." So I didn't go super smart. I wore jeans. I wore like a Ralph Lauren polo. I was presentable. This motherfucker turns up, gym shorts, like a fucking t-shirt, pretty much what I'm wearing now, and his business partner was there, and I'm thinking, why is there a business partner here? What's going on? I was confused. Turns out, this James and this other guy, Steve, they were starting a brand new business. And they wanted to hire people with no experience. So me. And I was like, right, okay. So this was like a 2.5, 3 hour like chat about who I am, what I do. Like a conversation we're having now, in a way. And then about 2 hours in, he said to me, "Cool, so would you want to work with us then?" And I'm thinking, yeah. He says, self-employed and stuff like that. We might even pay you a salary to start to help you out, but yeah, we really want you to work with us. I'm thinking, okay, cool. Like a bit taken back. They've only just known me an hour and a half. Like, how can you base whether you want to? I know that interviews are full, but it was kind of like it was a weird situation. So after that time, this was kind of like November time, I think, or it was early December 23, very early December. And then here's where it got rocky. So again, back to the friend with the director at the company, who they know, the one we're going for the breakup. So I told him about this thing, and he goes, "It sounds suspicious." And I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't know until I try. Like, my mindset at this point was, the old me would have probably believed him or gone with what he said. But I'm like, nah, not everything's a trap. Like, some things are happening for a reason, right? As we know, as people listening would probably agree, right? So Nathan, this is my friend. He goes, right, I'll if you want, just to protect you, I will do some digging. And I was like, cool, okay. So one of the business card I got given, right, I'll show you this. So this is me. Obviously, it's backwards. Right, that's who I work with now. Yeah. I probably jumped ahead with the story, but this will make sense. So this place, Lime, didn't exist at this point. This was the two guys I met. They were starting this business. Nathan, I got given a different business card called, don't know. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I got given this business card. Nathan, my friend, did some digging based on that. He's like, I actually know one of the directors. I know the guy that owns that. It's kosher. It's all good. Sounds great. But when I met these guys for a coffee, it wasn't the guy that Nathan knows. It was the other guy. There's two directors of this company. Elite Financial Solutions, that's what it was called, in Bristol. So Nathan emailed the guy he knows at this company saying, "Oh, congrats on the new company. This one I just showed you the business card of." And the guy's like, "What new company?" Turns out the guy I'd met, or one of the guys, he was in the background secretly starting a new business, and he was going to cut his ties, which is not, some people, my friend Nathan said, "Oh, that's bad. That's really bad for business." It's like, well, he didn't hurt anyone. I think he was going to tell him eventually, but he didn't want to tell him too soon to then create a rift and then potentially ruin things with this new business. So I rocked the boat. Nathan was getting, or these guys were getting phone calls like, what's going on? What's going on? They got called into a meeting. They got basically told like, fuck off. We're done cutting ties. And then I thought, fuck, I fucked my chances with these guys. I thought I've ruined it. I didn't hear anything for like 3 weeks. And I assumed, oh, it's gone. It's finished.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hearing anything. And they said, no, don't worry. It's all good. It's fine. It's all going ahead. But I wasn't getting messages for like 2-3 weeks on WhatsApp. I was getting no texts. I was getting messages I put on red. I wasn't desperate. I wasn't chasing. I remember having conversations with you. I was kind of, if it's gone, it's gone. It's not meant to be, right? Eventually, this has gone January time. They said, hi, James. We want to meet for a meeting, like an interview, a formal interview. So I'm like, shit, like, okay, wow, awesome, great. Me, suited and booted, as you do, at the same coffee shop I met them months prior. Mind you, the time span now, it's been months. And I've applied for loads of jobs and nothing. So I meet with these guys and I'm wearing my suit. They're wearing the logo, the lime stuff. They're wearing like gilets or body warmers, whatever people call them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sleeveless jackets and shit. They're wearing all these like company logoed stuff. Smart, not as smart as me. And I was like, oh, I overdressed. Anyway, again, it was pretty much the same scenario as the coffee I'd had months prior. When do you want to start? And I'm like, fuck, like this is awesome. So naturally I accepted. But let me describe to people, like that was a slog to go from the exams to then start now, or to start months ago, because I'm only months into what I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's been an uphill battle, but it's because it meant so much to me. Because I've worked so hard, and even the timeline where I am right now with it is, I've earned no money since October, so I'm still in the trenches. But I have this, I know the money's coming. I'm not panicking about, oh, I'm never going to earn money. I know that's coming, and I know I've got clients, and money is coming. It takes time, but it's a massive change in my life. Like, I've gone from being some dude that walks around with shorts all year round, as you know. Right, yeah. Even in the snow, wearing shorts. Even in the rain, shorts.
Yeah, the brown, half tan leg.
They're still there.
Because you're oh my god.
But it's taken like a massive turn. Like I was having daydreams about the job, like, oh, I'll be self-employed, I can work from home, I'll be earning this much money, I'll be given this freedom, I'll be working in a small company where everyone's like friendly and they're all good guys or girls, whatever, and they're all kind of getting on and we all want the same thing and everyone's supportive. And it's even better than that. Like, I'm working with this 4 of us and I can call the guys anytime I need help or whatever, and they're supportive. And again, financial part of it hasn't caught up yet, but I'm getting messages on a Friday from one of the directors saying like, thanks so much for your help. You're trying so hard and we really can't wait for you to reap the benefits and all the rewards that you really earn. And I'm like, shit, I've never had this from anyone ever. So I'm like grinning, like, fuck, like it's nice to know I'm working with people that appreciate me, but I appreciate them. And it's just good. It's like, it's a good feeling. And I don't feel, I feel like it's weird. Just kind of,
if you look at it from the whole Abraham Hicks perspective, because I don't know, you're not into Abraham Hicks, but I am. And this is what they talk about all the time. The feeling is the secret, right? You feeling the way you felt before and imagining it how you wanted it to be, and knowing, because you mentioned you didn't have the fear of, oh, it's not going to happen, or it's going to be, when is it going to happen? You knew that it will happen sooner or later. And I think that's such a massive thing that not a lot of people have. It's beyond belief, because when you believe, you have a little bit of doubt, but when it's knowing, it sounds to me like you just had the knowing that it's going to happen. And
Mhm.
just you don't have to see, this is where a lot of people get stuck sometimes. You don't have to do meditation for 5 hours a day, journal every day, do yoga, do all these practices, even though they're good, right? They're good for anybody that wants to go on that journey and do all those things. Sometimes all it takes is that, just feeling the feeling of it, feeling the feeling of it. And sometimes I think that's more important than all the others, because we get so wrapped up in, oh, I gotta do maybe this kind of meditation for it to come through. You gotta feel how you want to feel. That's about it. And I feel like you've got this spot on, and it's always like this or better. And it sounds like you got it better from whatever
No, I
you
totally
described.
did. I think, yeah, I don't tend to meditate. I do these 15-minute guided meditations on the odd occasion, and I tend to fall asleep sometimes. When I do, I've told you this, I fall asleep and I'm like, shit, I've fallen asleep again. Whatever. But I'll do that on the odd occasion. I'm going to start doing journaling. Now, I'm the kind of person that, as you know, I'm always testing and trying new things, and there's everything. I'm like, oh, that sounds good. I'll try that for a bit, and I'll try something for like 3 or 4 months and see how it works and how I feel and what. Not just in spiritual stuff, everything. Like I've got 3 or 4 things going on right now, and they're only small little. Let's call them projects. But here's one. Well, the German I was telling everyone about, or telling you about. I did it for 1,000 days in a row on that app. 1,000. The odd day off, but the tally was 1,000, over 1,000. It was like 1,100 days or something. And
Wow.
yeah, I just thought, fuck it. Like, why not? Like, there's no point quitting. The only reason no, I haven't quit. I paused it, and I haven't done it for over a year. But the reason why I paused it is because I didn't think the app served my purpose anymore.
Hmm.
It didn't feel like I was learning like I'd learning what I needed to do. So at some point, I am going to do something else. I'm going to do German, but I'm going to learn a different way and stuff. It's a thought at the back of my head. But
So you have a story with this as well. You got to tell me the story, because I know what the story is with the German as well. You've got a certain vision with it. So
oh, but what with the manifestation stuff, or
yeah, yes.
what the
But this is the
uh,
thing. See, you call it manifestation, but after all, it's not even about that, because you keep even bringing the point of it not being spiritual, being spiritual. It doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't
it
matter.
doesn't matter.
Yes. Yeah.
It's people can say it's this magic or whatever. It's quantum physics or whatnot. You don't have to think about the the deep dive on it, or what the labels it has. It just if
Hmm.
people go, oh, it doesn't work. Of course, it doesn't work because you don't think it works. You don't believe in it. You don't believe in yourself. And if you want to go back to the
Hmm.
whole fact that I was knowing something was happening, and you can look at this in 2 ways. You can have the faith that it's going to work for you, and I had it in that instance, but it was more of a if you keep doing something over and over and you keep failing, some people could say it's insanity, right? But then look at it this way: if you have a goal and you work towards it, eventually you'll get what you want. Eventually, like mathematically, you'll get what you want. Like if you put effort in, you can't just sit there and wish for things to happen. You have to, let's just call it aligned, inspired action. But we've had discussions about this before, but
Yeah.
you still have to do stuff. I can't meditate and have daydreams that I'm going to be a mortgage advisor, but you still have to take steps in the 3D world to be able to make stuff work. You know.
Absolutely.
So, for example,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm working on a manifestation right now, and you've got to pick up hints and cues and listen. Like, I'll tell everyone. So at the moment, because the mortgage job, it will pay, but it's not paying right now. So I'm thinking in my head, I want something part time that's potentially cash that I can kind of work as and when I want around the mortgage job, which doesn't have set hours because, I mean, it's 21 minutes past 12 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, which if I was employed by a company, I'd be working, right? We wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because I work for myself, I can do whatever the hell I want. But because I'm trying to look for this work, I'm opening up conversations with people and I'm getting loads of different ideas and stuff like that. And okay, that's not me doing anything strange or whatever, because that's normal. If you're hunting for something and you're quite chatty like me, you're going to have conversations with different people and whatnot. But something's going to happen. I'll get an offer or I'll get a text or I'll get something. Something's going to pop up. Like, it's inevitable. That's why I see it. It's like, I will get what I want. Whether it's today, tomorrow, a year down the line, and I don't fucking need it by then, but it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I believe I've gone off on a tangent. You asked about the German stuff and what my goal with that was.
Little vision with it.
Yeah.
with your little, what you call it, farm kind of home, and maybe a lady coming from Germany.
Yeah, that would be nice. No, it was kind of like, obviously I've been trying to manifest like a person for me, right? I've been trying to envisage what the ideal person for me is or could be like. And we've had discussions about this before, and it's a case of, well, I couldn't picture anyone. I didn't know what, like, but then I guess it all boils down to a lot of us want someone like ourselves. Not exactly like ourselves, but we want someone similar, because then you pretty much get on every level, to a point. So I even wrote a list down of things that, my not requirements, not calling it that, like a wish list, like a attributes we like maybe in ourselves, which I think that's a good thing to write about, things you like about yourself. But yeah, so I guess the project now is the project that I'm trying to do is manifest someone for me. But now I'm like, why that ties in with the German stuff. Maybe I'll meet a German girl. That's what I said to you. And you were like, hey, like, maybe you will. And then I hear snippets like, okay, so what did I tell the other day? I told you the fact that my parents had just come back from holiday in North Wales, the island above Wales, where my dad's from. And he was having a conversation with one of the locals saying, oh, there's going to be a big, massive construction thing happening. They're going to dig tunnels or something for road or net or rail. I don't know what it was. But the company that I've been given the contract are a German company. And there's me like, like, what if, not that I'm up there ever, but you don't know, like, how the things work. Like, maybe I'll go up there on holiday and then, yeah, so that made me smile. But I hear snippets and stuff like that, and you hear things, and I don't know, and it just kind of, it will, whether they're German or not, I don't know.
The synchronicities are there, right? The little
Yeah.
you have an idea, and then you hear somebody talk about it or something similar, which is kind of showing, there's the path. There it is. You're thinking about it, you're talking about it, it's gonna show up. And I
Yeah.
like I like your mindset so much. Like, if I've learned anything from you since I've known you, is that, you're, whether it's 5D to 3D or 3D to 3, so matter to matter, that no matter what, you're gonna make things happen for you, which, more power to you, because you've got that solar plexus well developed, of going forward, pushing through, doing the steps. You also have a lot of intuition. I don't know whether we brought this up or not, but your
recently,
intuition is it's spot on with a lot of things. Not just recently, but forever. At least the time that I've known you, every time you've been saying stuff, it's like I had a gut feeling about it. I had a gut feeling about it. Like, great, fucking amazing.
Yeah,
That's
but
great.
when we met last week, I had this. I told you about that, but it seems like everything seems supercharged with my intuition recently. Like, remember I got home and told you my old roommate, the lodger, she keeps getting letters through, and she doesn't live there. And obviously, I'm like redirecting her mail to a new house because I have her address. And I got home from the gym earlier. Obviously, I was late for our podcast, our meeting, our chat today. And sorry, she you bitch.
Naughty,
she,
naughty. Doesn't matter. It doesn't
she,
matter.
and I thought to myself, I always check the letterbox. Obviously, you're going to do that anyway. You know, it's like I'm living in a block of flats, apartments, whatever, and obviously everyone's got their own little mailbox. And obviously, I got a small key for mine, number 18. And sometimes you can open it up where you can look in and see if there's letters. Now, I just thought, I did that, couldn't see anything. Sometimes I open it and there was a letter. But the point I'm trying to make is, before I'd even opened it, I thought there's a letter for the lodger in there. And there was. And I'm rolling my eyes laughing, like, oh, of course there fucking is. Like, yeah, there's never any letters for me. No one loves me. But no, I'm fine with that.
Oh my god, it was the intuition. Like even that, there's gonna be a letter there. There it is. You
Yeah.
know, that's pretty darn cool.
Here's another one. I was having a conversation with this girl at the gym, and I've seen her for the last few days. She's very chatty and good energy about it. So I've been chatting about a lot of stuff, and we've been teasing, winding each other up. And she was doing whatever exercise she was doing, and then she said, "I'm going for a pee," and I said, "Oh yeah, I'll see you in half an hour. You're gonna go for a shit, like taking a piss out." Yeah, making fun of her. Didn't see her for 20 minutes. Her phone is there. Her belongings are on the floor, and I thought she has gone for a number 2, or she's like trapped in the toilet or something. And I thought, fuck, like, am I actually gonna have? I can't go in there because it's a women's. I'd have to go and tell another girl, can you go and check if she's okay? I said I'll do it after this next 2 exercises. So like within like 10 minutes, I'll go and check, or I'll go and get someone to check. She turns up. She goes, "Oh, sorry, I was chatting to the gym owner, whatever, blah, blah, blah." She goes, I need to tell you something. I went, right. She goes, "Oh, we've spoken for the last few days. I'll tell you this thing." She goes, "Well, I get seizures." And I'm thinking,
oh, wow.
Yeah, just a few minutes before when I'm having this vision, like, fuck, maybe
Something's happened, yeah.
something's happened. She's collapsed. It's quite warm right now. So I thought, well, maybe she's like, I don't know. But she told me she's
herself.
Yeah, well, she's just struggling on the toilet. I don't know. But
like, what can you do? She's struggling on the toilet. Oops, not much you can do about that.
No. We all have those once in a while. But she told me she's got this heart condition.
Oh, wow.
And she showed me, she pulled her like sports top down to here, and there was kind of like a lump. And she said, this is like a heart monitor thing. And she goes, I said, you're not, I said, I don't know what the name of what she's got is called, but it had cardio something. And I went, is that a heart condition? She's like, yeah, this is plugged, I don't know if it's plugged into her heart or it just senses her heartbeat or the electrical pulses. But then it'll send like a message. If she has a seizure or her heart stops, it'll send a message to the hospital, like an alarm. Mm-hmm. She said, "Oh yeah, I almost died. I died last month. Last month I died and my heart stopped for 9 seconds." And I'm like that. I said, "You're like the Terminator." I said, "When did you get the seizure?" She's like, "Anytime. I get them all the time." And I'm thinking like, okay, whether you want to link it like, or you want to look too far into it, but the fact that she didn't appear for 20 minutes and I'm panicking, like, not panicking, but I'm like, oh, hope she's okay. Like, fuck, is she having like a fucking, is she alright? Is she passed out? Turns out that could happen anyway because so I'm just like, did I do that? Probably not. But my intuition at the moment seems to be very, even happened with my car, my light bulb. I told you when I met you the other day. I got a Volvo, and because it's a Swedish car and it's dark for a lot longer there throughout the year, they have longer winters, and the bulbs are always on. It's a 20-year-old car, and it wasn't really a thing back then where your lights were always on or had auto headlights. And I thought to myself, wonder when the bulbs are last changed. One just fucking pops anyway. So all this random small stuff happening.
Yeah.
And there's something else on my car, like it almost died or something the other day or the other week. And it did this funny thing, and I'm rolling my eyes like fuck, because the story I used to tell myself was, I'm unlucky when it comes to cars. Every
Mm.
single automatic car I've owned, the gearbox has been shit. No one seems to change the oil in them. No one changed the transmission oil. And this car, it's automatic. And before I bought it, I made sure that someone's looked after it, and they have. So when it does this thing, I'm shitting myself. Not literally, figuratively, maybe literally. That this gearbox has then gone and fucked up as well. It wasn't. It's a cheap £20 part, but point being, I'm causing a lot of things at the moment. I'm doing something else happened. Here you go. Here's another one. Right. This happened only yesterday. These are way too many coincidences. Like stuff like this is happening way too often for it to be a coincidence anymore. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But I have this. You're gonna laugh. So I've got an egg steamer. So I knew you'd laugh.
I think you told me about your egg steamer a while ago. You've had it for over a year or so, didn't
No,
you?
I've had it for years. I bought it from Lidl, right? And you know the middle of Lidl, you get the middle aisles.
Dude.
Or
Yeah.
Aldi. I know they've got Aldi in the States and they've got Lidl. They've definitely got Aldi in the States and Australia. They've got them everywhere. But Lidl obviously is the rival. I'm a Lidl guy because they have the bakery. But anyway, you go through the middle aisle and obviously you can have all like random crap. You go in to buy some food and you come out with a kayak. You come out with a pickaxe and you come out with like a bit of Lego or some shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you come out with a hedge trimmer. Anyway, this is going back it must be 4 years. 4 or 5 years. There was an egg steamer and it was really cheap. It was like £5 or £6. It's a fancy looking thing. I can show your audience if they're really inclined to see it. But I was chatting to a guy the other day at the gym and we were talking. He's like, oh, I steam my eggs because it's just fire and forget. You leave it. You don't have to stand and watch eggs boiling in a pan. And I thought to myself, mine's quite old. I've been really lucky with it so far. What fucking happened yesterday? The power tripped in my living room. I'm trying to do something and nothing in the room's working. I'm like, fuck, there's been a power cut. No, there was not a power cut. I went to my control thing in my laundry room, utility room, whatever. The thing tripped.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to put it back. Nope. Rang my electrician friend. I said, this is the situation. And he said, something in your kitchen. Well, what have you plugged in recently? What have you done differently?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, what's plugged in? I said, oh, well, I had a coffee bean grinder electric. I used that. It was fine. Coffee machine, fine. The only thing that was plugged in was the egg steamer with the power still on. There was water underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's dead. But the egg steamer, the thoughts about stuff, there's so many small things and synchronicities happening right now where I'm under no illusion that your thoughts do create your universe, your reality, yeah? So I guess not just the manifestation stuff with the job and getting a job, the dream job, which, by the way, I'll make one more point about the job. And I've told myself since I've been working with these guys, I've jumped my career forward with that 3 to 4 years. So where I saw myself with that job in that industry in 3 or 4 years, I've started at that already.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's one thing. But then going back to all these small synchronicities and these small, for me, I can't deny the fact that the way I think, it's not what you are. I mean, it's not what I am that creates my reality. It's what I think. Or No, is it the other way around? I'm trying to word it because I
I
keep.
totally, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And it's so interesting because you're saying manifestation. And I think a lot of people think manifestation is just of the good stuff. But we
Oh, it's
manifest all
bad.
the
Yeah.
time. It's the bad. So I feel like this is what you're kind of pointing at too. The fact that even the ex-team were fucking up, or the car and the letter, all of it. We're manifesting left, right, and center on autopilot most of the time. So it's the, I think it's the working on the subconscious mind, because that's what's ruling most of our reality. 95% of it, more or less, is ruled by our subconscious mind. So whenever we get to the root of how we feel and how we think, well, all of that is going to keep happening. But I feel like you've got a grip somewhat on the thoughts that you put out there, and the feelings that you put out there, because it's not the
I'm aware
feeling.
to it. I'm.
Yeah.
I've got. I've now got this skill where I realize how I'm feeling in a particular moment. I realized before I told you this, going back last year when I'm driving my car, sometimes my back's tight. Well, why is my back tight? Then I relax it. So I don't realize I'm driving and I'm uptight. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, why am I doing that? I'm not stressed out. I was just doing it as due course. Or I'm more, I'm more aware to how I feel. So stuff that might have annoyed me before doesn't bother me now because I know everything's going to be fine. But then I can pick up on other people. Told you, my friend, the one I keep having conversations with you about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Prime example, 1,000,000% prime example of you do stuff to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You create your own reality. Your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts create what you are or who you are and stuff. And our bodies hold trauma. And it's just wild. Like, when it becomes obvious the way these things are, it things just it changes everything. It changes everything.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
would think that would be easy, right? Because when you start becoming aware, I mean, it's easier for us to see, for us, I mean, for anybody in general, to see something in somebody else, to see their blind spots, right? It's so much
Mm-hmm.
easier to see them in somebody else. And it would be easy to just go, you're doing this, change that. But then it's harder to change, or more challenging to change, because it's not impossible, but it's a bit more challenging. And I think this is what, in a way, without you even realizing, your little steps of self-improvement have brought you to this point. And I think it is that connection that you've got with your instinct, with your gut feelings, that that is kind of your higher self, guiding you towards whatever. And who knows what next, right? Who knows what next? Because we can see things in others. And I remember I told you this kind of at the beginning, when you started telling me about you were still working as a postman, and you were telling me that you want to be the mortgage person and whatnot. And I was like, I can see that, but I can also not, because of all this other part of you, this other side of you that's so intuitive. And me thinking, oh, maybe you're going to do some other kind of spiritual work in the world. I still sort of believe that a little bit, but it's changed into, spiritual doesn't have to be anything except living your everyday life in the present moment, right? And being your most authentic self in that moment, and putting yourself out there to the world, helping, supporting in whichever way you can, which is what you're doing anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be a certain thing in particular. I think I got wrapped up in that too for a really long time, of what the fuck is my purpose? Why am I here, and what am I here to do, and how am I going to help the humanity if I can't even look after myself? All those stories. Because you said about stories that we tell ourselves. Yeah, all of that. I know it doesn't have to be that. It can be as simple as going to your job, whatever your job is, and doing that fully present, being fully present and in your heart, and loving, out of a loving place, rather than, oh, that person really pissed me off right now, I want to smash that person's face in, or stuff like that. Can we just live our lives out of love, instead of out of fear or anger or frustration, or this is not working, that's not working. That's my little rant.
It's things that I think it opens up a new perspective when you when you open your eyes more to how this reality is and how
Open
this,
focus, right? Not
yeah,
just narrow focus. You're also zoomed into this. It's got to be this way. I gotta have a shelter. I gotta have food. I gotta look after my car. I gotta have a job. Gotta. When you start opening up, that kind of stops. And I think opening up is being more in the now, being more present.
yeah, no, it's like like I said, it changes your view on things, like things that might have affected you before, or someone saying something to you is like, meh, don't care. Like you just don't know.
Yeah, you don't take it personally, right? Because there's
There's
this
bigger
thing
things
of
at play than
yeah.
someone saying something to you, or someone cutting you up in traffic, or
Mm.
you buy some apples and one's moldy. It's like who gives a shit? Like it's not a problem.
Yeah, getting angry over little things, right?
Totally. Well, not just anger. There's other elements to it, but it's I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
there's so many. What I find fascinating being on this journey so far is there's so many different ways and views and takes and stuff on so many different subjects, and like I feel you could. There's so much to learn, and I know, like okay, people are fascinated with crystals and stones, and like I said, I
Look at you. Look at you with a little stone in your shirt.
that's my
Well, now,
moldavite.
if you had a bra, it would be bra, wouldn't it? What
Maybe I
is it?
do. It's the moldavite. I told you about this before. This is what people believe is. A lot of people are scared of this stuff. They seem to think that this stone can accelerate your spiritual.
Hold on, Moldavite is in the green stone? That
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
look green
green.
from here. It
It's
looks
kind of
so
like
black.
glass.
Oh yeah,
It's like a
it had like, oh, is it like raw Moldavite?
yeah.
Oh, hold up. Yes. Oh yeah, I can see. I can see. So go ahead.
So
You were saying?
people seem to think that if you wear this, it's because it's got such a high vibration that it can force you to raise your vibration. Now, what have I felt since wearing it? Don't know. When I first wore it for the first 3 or 4 days, I felt differently. But then, is that because it's a placebo effect? I don't know. But I used to, because of what I was told about the stone, like be careful with it, and it can. People, you go on Reddit and people say, "Oh, it's Moldavite fucked my life up." It's like, well, it didn't. It didn't fuck your life up.
That's
Like,
the thing.
and this is remember you saying to me, the stone holds no power. It's you putting power of the stone, and I'm kind of like, totally. Now I don't know whether this holds any power. Maybe it has its. Maybe it is a high vibrational thing, right? And it can amplify what you've already
Mhm.
got. Maybe I don't know. I wear it because I stopped wearing it for months and months. Not for any particular reason. I just kind of didn't put it back on one day.
Mhm.
But I got it back on the last week or two, and it's just like wearing it. I'm not putting any extra thought
Mhm.
into what it does, what it could do, or what it will do.
Mhm.
It's just there, and it's. I tell myself it's for good luck, but you make your own
Mhm.
luck, you know. So I'm not giving. I don't want to give my power away to a stone,
Mhm.
you know. But it's just there, and I'm wearing it, and I like wearing it, and I wear it to bed. I don't take it off. I take it off to shower, and that's it. So it's gonna
I
snap
mean,
though.
the thing that you said about people saying that they wore it and it fucked up their life, it's that thing. If a lot of people say that, right? It's like you want to change, be prepared for war. And these are not my words. These are Joe Dispenza's words. When you decide to change, be prepared for war. And it's like similar to what I've been going through the past few months, what I've told you so many times. It's like the rug being pulled from under my feet. And I wasn't wearing a stone, but in all fairness, that if a lot of people put a lot of intention into one thing, it becomes true, right? It's like ghosts. Many people believe they're real, so something's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
But even with this, like if you think that Moldavite is gonna fuck up your life or is gonna turn it upside down and you start wearing one, well, be prepared for that because that's what's gonna happen, right? It's the same. I do believe some of them, maybe all of them, do have some qualities for sure. But but it's like the planets, right? And the whatever planetary alignments that has an influence on us too. I believe it now more than before because it seemed to have coincided a lot with the things that have been going on in my life. But just like you, I don't feel like I need to give my power away to the influence of the planets or a stone or I don't know anybody else for that matter, because we all
Mhm.
tend to do that. We all tend to do that.
Yeah, no, we tend
So,
to give power away to traditions and what's
mhm.
the old thing that people do? You know, they don't want to jinx themselves,
Superstitions.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone says
Knock
touch
on
wood, and
wood.
they knock on wood or touch wood. You know, so
Yeah. So what else is there for you, sir? Is there anything else that you would like to add to our what are your like let's say short-term future plans or ideas or images that you've got in your brain?
well, nothing fancy. I'd say my biggest goal is to work on my business and
Hmm.
to progress that because again, I guess I'll call it actively manifesting,
Mm.
manifestation.
You sounded like a foreigner trying to say an English word and just
I am a
making it up.
foreigner. um, no, I feel like I keep getting visions in my head of a certain figure, like a salary. Okay, I'm self-employed, so it's a bit different. But
Mhm.
I tell myself at the end of 2 years, I want to have earned 70,000 for that year, for the second year.
Mhm.
Again, I'm not driven by money, but I think from a place of where you've not potentially earned a lot before, it's an exciting prospect knowing that and this is a big change because of what I'm told I could potentially earn. It's like, wow, the sky's the limit to a point, right? So, and I'll have everything I ever need if I can earn quite well from this living. Then I don't need anything else. In a way, it feels to me like comfortable. Don't have to
Mm.
worry about shit. You can kind of just do what you want, and you can and have a great time without having to worry about stuff. So I guess financially, that's my biggest. Just progressing the business, getting my name out there, getting people using me, building a good reputation. I think that's the most thing. That's my main thing. Again, there is the whole love
Mhm.
thing and trying to meet someone, but I'm not panicking about that because I know it's going to happen again. And then the whole, I guess I got my longer term goal that coincides with the job, moving into the countryside and just living in a small house and having a bit of land, not necessarily a farm, that's too much, but just having a few animals and I don't know, just not having any neighbors and just having space and freedom and whatnot. And yeah, that sounds good to me. So
Mhm.
I told myself as well, I did set a rough timer on that because of my mortgage in where I'm living now. I got a year and a half until that's up for,
Renewal.
well, yeah, my fixed term ends. So once that comes to an end, I would like, who knows? Like, I have had a few negative thoughts saying there's no fucking way I'm going to be able to save all the money I'd need to put down on a house, but I'm saying to myself it's more than possible and I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to let it happen the way it's going to happen. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm not putting pressure on myself. And again, there's a dog I want to get as well. That'll happen. Um, there's
Yeah.
things, but I'm
Yeah.
but the way I do it, I don't think about these things necessarily individually. I kind of have these daydreams where I'm like sat out on the porch of this house that I want, and the dog's there on my lap, or I'm walking down a country lane wearing wellies, walking through like a single track lane, a country lane, and then with a dog, or I'm having a drink at a local pub in this village that's like maybe a half an hour walk to. So I'm having daydreams like that, So it's kind of that's what I did to get in this position I'm in now. So it's going to work again, and it is working. So
Mhm. Mhm. I mean,
yeah,
you're doing all the right steps, as you would call them,
but then
because
am
well,
I? Because people would say, "Oh, why aren't you manifest? Why aren't you meditating? Why aren't you journaling?" You know what?
like
I'm
I
like,
said
well,
earlier, life doesn't necessarily happen with your eyes closed, when you meditate and whatever. It happens in everyday moment. You could be just doing that, seeing yourself in those places and feeling the feeling of it. Sometimes, honestly, of course, there's so many benefits to meditation and breathwork and whatever other people do. There's also living life. You can't stay there. I mean, Abraham Hicks, they say 15 minutes a day is enough of meditation. You don't have to sit in there with your eyes closed. Go do life, which sounds like you're doing anyway. So you're a great
Yeah,
example of what's possible if you just have even that. You don't have to have all these tools and all these skills and whatever. You just have a vision. You have a vision. That's what it is.
yeah.
That's where your power is, in the vision and in the trusting your gut and following the steps, because you're introspective but extra. Is there an extrospective? No. Is that a word? Does that even exist? Now it is. Because you're
You're
looking at
confusing me
things
now.
within yourself. Yes. You're not just, like you said, you're not just sitting there and wishful thinking this stuff and just forget it, like daydreaming all day, but not actually taking any steps towards it as well. So
No,
you are a great example for me as well, by the way.
good. Glad to hear
Because
it.
we've had this conversation so many times, and I can tend to go towards the sit here and wait. For me, it seems like I'm waiting sometimes maybe too long until I take a step and take some action. But sometimes it feels like I'd rather wait and take the action when it feels aligned, sort of. Sometimes the universe might push me, like, come on already, move your ass.
Yeah,
Because so no matter what, it's gonna happen anyway. No matter what, whatever is meant to happen, I totally believe that it happens. So
no, I
it's not
believe that.
gonna, yeah, it's not gonna drive past me, miss me
No,
somehow.
I think, and I can't make my mind up on this, and I suppose it doesn't matter, but I guess when you try and envisage certain things or you have these desires of things you want, and now I see this pop up and I don't know, I see these, I guess, synchronicities, and they'll pop up. And they'll pop up too quick. I'm like, well, that's too fast. Like that's like a carrot, tiny carrot dangling, and it's like, well, it's a small snippet or a breadcrumb, and it's kind of, and it might not be something I necessarily want, but I've had a thought about, or I've had it in the past with maybe a different business venture or different things I wanted, and then there'll be a small breadcrumb there, and I'm thinking, do I take it or do I not? Because sometimes you're not 100% on something, and then you'll ignore it.
I'm just mind blown, by the way, at this point, because this to me is like, of course, you had an idea, the universe is showing you, and you've got a chance to change your mind. That's how I
Yeah,
see it right now.
yeah, totally.
But honestly, the fact that you see all these little things, to me, it just blows my mind. I mean, I've had conversation with you many times when I'm just like this, with with how you see things for yourself and how they happen and how you're like, oh, there's that and there's that. You're so aware. I feel like you're so aware, about everything that's around you.
Not
Maybe for
always.
sure.
I
Yeah,
find
we
myself
all have
going
blind
through.
spots, right?
Yeah,
We
but
all
we
have
have
blind spots.
I go
So
through phases. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I go
for
through.
sure.
Like I went through like a 2 month period where, okay, that was it. We're talking about angel numbers, right? Numbers popping up on license plates and on your phone and 1111, 222, 333, 888. I'm seeing the last 3 weeks. It's been like a lot. But then I went through a period where for 2 months it felt like there was a switch in my brain and it'd been turned off, and I was kind of like very maybe lower energy and I didn't see stuff, and I kind of felt like I reverted back to my old self. But it feels like in this last week, 2 weeks, now it's back on and I'm seeing more things and I'm kind of acknowledging stuff.
Hmm.
So I don't feel like you can always be on a high with stuff, because like we said, when it comes to manifesting stuff, if your thoughts make your reality and you're having bad thoughts, you're gonna bring shit up, aren't you? You're gonna bring shit to your life, and it's only you to blame, you know.
Totally,
Or it's a lesson
totally.
you're meant to learn anyway, and it is what it is. It's not necessarily always a bad thing. It depends how you view it,
Yeah,
but um,
Of course, because everything that happens is there, like you said, for us to learn something or to be made aware of something that we're doing to ourselves in order to change it. So a lot of people get the awareness and get the lesson. A lot of people don't, and that's okay. Like everybody's got their own path. Everybody's
Yeah.
got their own reason why they're here and lessons that they're set up to learn for themselves in this lifetime. So whichever way is perfect.
Yeah. I think just gonna say one more thing on the angel number stuff. It's I'm still in this kind of mood or mode about angel numbers and their meanings, and I got kind of fixated at one point about what does this mean and what does that mean, and then you do a Google search, and then one might mean this, but then you go on a different website and one means something else. I went, well, who's right? Like, then I went through a phase of thinking, well, doesn't fucking matter. If you believe that's that, that's that. But then it's like, well, no, it has to mean something. If there is a meaning behind it and it's a message, then there must be a right message for you. So I'm still on that kind of, in that zone of not really sure how to take them. I'm acknowledging them, and I'm starting to, I've been doing it for a while, but kind of being more aware of what the thoughts I'm having at the time are and what these numbers could be. But then sometimes I've done that, and then it's doesn't feel like it resonates like what I'm being told. So I'm like, don't know, not sure.
That's where your inner guidance comes in, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult.
Yeah, because a lot of people have like even tarot reading, right, and psychic readings and whatever. Take it or leave it. You don't have to believe what anybody else is telling you. If it resonates with you, sure. If it doesn't, bye bye. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Because we all have our own inner guidance system.
Yeah, I mean, you did the tarot reading for me last week, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's good. It resonates. And then I guess what was it? No, we couldn't really make sense of it because one of it was probably like more. It was multiple decks you used, wasn't it? And one of the decks was it specific for like love or something, or not necessarily romantic
I
love,
don't
but love in
remember.
any. What's
Yes,
that?
yes,
Yeah,
and it had nothing to do with love, did it? Was it like that? Yes, if I remember well.
but
I don't
yeah, but then
remember.
one of them was either someone from the past is going to pop up, and people have popped up in the last week or two. I'm like, huh. Whether they mean anything to me now or not, it's not like it's changed my world. But
Yeah.
there's an element to it where there is truth to it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I'm done, sir. I don't know if you are or not, but I am.
Everyone's probably sick of me talking, and you're probably sick of me talking. But
I mean, I don't mind, to be honest. I love doing these things because I don't know, it's something that popped in my head a while ago of let's do this, and I love doing it. So thank you very much for accepting my invitation of being on my podcast.
thank you
And
for
sharing your story.
inviting me on. We could do just a thought. We could do another one like this in 6 months or a year or something afar, and we can maybe we could have another conversation about what's popped up and what's changed, and whether what I've said today has changed, or who knows.
That's a really good idea. That's a
Because I
really
think
good
people,
idea.
obviously, people are listening. They're going to be like, "Oh, he's mentioned about a woman, or he's mentioned about wanting a dog or a house." And who knows? Anything's possible. Maybe I'll have a dog, or
I mean, for the purpose of people seeing that it works, for sure, because this is what makes people believe a lot in themselves. The fact that, oh, if he can do it, I can too.
yeah,
And in all fairness, whatever you've shared today, like a lot of the things that have happened with you, by you, it's the same. It's the same thing. You've created a lot of things for yourself.
yeah, I
Good
feel
ones,
that.
let's say.
Yeah,
Good ones,
definitely,
consciously. The ones that you've set yourself to manifest, to create.
totally.
So that's it for me. Thank you very much yet again. And I shall see you whenever.
Yes.
Goodbye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Bye-bye.